minimum of 5 to 6 hours a day. Sometimes there's days I spend 12 hours on the MLS. A lot of the days they don't. I submit offers through text to not waste time. I don't want to send an offer and write it up. I just send a quick text and say, hey, this is my number. If you guys want me to write it up and it works for you, let me know. It's quick text, takes 15 seconds to send, and I could get 100 no's, but the more no's I get, I'm closer to a yes, and eventually it hits. So it's just a matter of consistency. There is. So part of what sets me apart from a lot of agents is that when I find the deals, I'm sure everyone's probably dealt with this, where you find the perfect property for a client or a really good deal, you send it to your client, they take a day or two to respond back and think about it. They need to talk to the kids, the wife, the dog, family, right? And by the time they get back to you, what happens? House is already under contract, right? So for me to simplify this process and make sure that when I do find a deal, that property doesn't go under contract and I miss out on an opportunity, I actually put it under contract under my LLC, and I write and/or assignee, so I can then assign it to one of my clients and the deal's already locked up. And not only that, but I already did the negotiating. I already got it at the lowest price per square foot that I can get it for. There's no multiple bidding wars or anything like that. So when I present this deal to a client, it's pretty much just yes or no. It's very simple for them to just say yes or no. There's no negotiating, no nothing. So I think that helps a lot. And sometimes when my investors do take a long time to respond to me, I have to be the one to decide if I'm going to risk then putting my earnest money deposit down on the property to make sure that it's locked in and I'm not going to miss out on any opportunities. There's a lot of flippers in towns that try to steal deals. It's just, that's how the game works, right? And so if I don't lock that deal up, somebody else is going to. And so there's a lot of times where I do put my own earnest money deposit down, in just hopes that I'm going to be able to get it. So I risk that money knowingly that I should be able to get this deal under contract with another investor, or like I said, I buy deals myself as well. So worst case scenario, I just move forward with the property and just flip it myself. Yeah, so if you guys watch $1 Million Listing, I actually met Josh Altman yesterday, which was amazing, but he was a big inspiration to me getting into real estate. I always knew from day one I wanted to get into the luxury real estate market, but I knew it was going to be very hard for me at 20 years old, being from Colombia, not being from Vegas, to break into that market. And so it helped me a lot. I actually joined Luxury Estates International with Cameron, just to see, how a luxury professional does his business. And just being there in the boot camp trainings that they have and just being surrounded by a lot of people that already are doing what I wanted to do, just soaking up a lot of the information helped a lot. But back then I still wasn't doing a lot of luxury. I probably had some of my worst years at Luxury Estates International, but I did learn a lot. And so my first big moment where I transitioned from just being a regular agent to one of the top agents is I used to do open houses every single day when, maybe my first 5 years of real estate. And I used to do like almost 10 open houses in a row, just nonstop if I had no business, right? If I had no escrows or no deals closing, I was sitting at an open house from 9 o'clock in the morning till 7 o'clock at night, just 10 days in a row. And I just did not stop because I knew the next open house could be my next deal. And so that's how I would, find my first time home buyers and my regular clients. But at night, I would go to the nightclubs, make sure that I had a really good comps, which all my tables were always taken care of. I had great industry people that knew me, and I always brought very good groups. And so if there's people next to me spending $20,000 at Hakkasan or Omni or XS, I know these people have millions of dollars, right? And so I would go to the nightclubs at night and try to build my investor base with people that I know for a fact were millionaires. And then during the day, it was my bread and butter business. And so for me to break into that luxury market, what happened was during those relationships I built in the nightlife, basically I ended up getting a portfolio from one client that took me years and years, almost 4 or 5 years of taking him out, taking him to eat, taking him to have a good time, to get his whole portfolio of about 15 to 20 properties a year. He'd buy properties at the auction, flip them, and I would list them. And so I became his one and sole agent for all his properties, and I learned the inside game on how to flip houses. He wouldn't flip luxury, he would just flip anywhere between like $300,000 to $800,000. But being that agent on the inside on how this whole flip game works got me into thinking, well, I always wanted to do luxury and now I love doing these flips, so why don't I put 1 and 2 together? And so I started hunting on the MLS again, and it was almost like relearning how to run comps, because running comps on custom homes is completely different than running cookie cutter model match homes right across the street, right? And so just going to every single open house that I could, getting into all these $1 million communities. Even when you're at Cayton Gate today, instead of going home, why don't you drive by the community? You really have to breathe in the community, figure out what they have. Now you understand what the country club looks like, what the views are from here. So being in Red Rock Country Club, Ascaya, going to visit all these places is gonna help you, not only just sitting in the back of the computer, but then you're gonna realize like, this is why people are buying in these specific communities. And you're gonna be able to understand that properties on the golf course are worth more than properties are not on the golf course. On the west side of Red Rock, east side of Red Rock, right, which is the most expensive one. And so there's a lot of things that with custom homes and luxury real estate, you have to put in the work, and it's not just sitting behind the computer. You have to go to these places, you have to go to these open houses, and you have to be there, and you have to know more than everybody else, because these luxury investors, they know a lot. So you have to make sure that you know just as much as them, if not more, about the communities that they're investing in.